Everybody don't say a word. Damn it. I've already said words. All right. So, recap from last week. You guys traveled through the land of Sharg. You dealt with a scenario with some brontosauruses. You made it to town. As soon as you walked into town, a woman ran in, started screaming, said there was some sort of like attack or something that was happening to the fishermen. After a little hemming and hawing and some DM total not understanding what was going on from the players' minds, we figured it out, and you guys went down to see what you could do. Battle ensued. You were able to save two kids, two little lizard folk kids, as well as one fisherman. Baller got a little tanned, and you defeated two giant crabs, as well as three swarms of crab swarms, I should say. We also discovered that swarms, or at least like low-level swarms in 5th edition, are crabby. And so I will, as a promise...
These ones were especially crabby.
Oh, the begin. Somebody get the claw out. Anyways, so you guys take care of that, and what we had chatted about just briefly before TJ you joined was, is there anything you guys want to do on the scene here? And I know that I kind of mopped up the map already and took the swarms and the giant crabs off the map, but is there anything else that you guys wanted to do? And Kevin had suggested that it might be a good idea to try to harvest or bring back to town some big bits of crab meat, as it were. And was there anything else that you wanted to try to do with like Baller and Seraph?
I think that is a fantastic idea to bring back some food. I'd help do that.
Okay.
Bartering.
I want to look something up real fast, just to give you guys some stats here that you can play with. All right, so do to poop. Where is it?
It feels like we're in a spy movie.
All right, so the crabs themselves are huge creatures, and so you guys, I won't make you make like survival checks or anything. But if somebody does have survival, give me a survival check. And you guys can either like aid, or you guys, whoever has survival, can make the roll.
I will aid, and I don't think I do because I rolled a 7 total.
Not an aid. Yep, you needed a 10 or better.
Ooh, and then else. All right, so we have Reamer. He's got a, what's that? I think he's got 4, so that's a 19. And Elzarin's got a 12.
All right, so 19, and then a 19 plus 2 had aided. And so what Reamer knows, just like
helping
right off, what happened?
Nothing.
Oh, okay, cool. Reamer knows that probably the best things that you guys could grab and bring back would be the massive claws and the legs, and that inside the body itself, that there's probably some. So there's probably less meat in the actual body, and there's probably a bunch of stuff in there that may or may not be good. And like that's based upon the fact that maybe you've seen, like, you know, crabs or lobsters on the surface world, and you have to assume that, you know, just like the green gook that's in a lobster, there might be some gross stuff that's inside these crab bodies that you're like, we could avoid that. So
Elzarin,
to make like,
if you don't mind, Elzarin would like to come up and make an Arcana check on the runes on the claw.
Okay, make an Arcana check.
Okay, that's that one. Come on. Never mind.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you this: that depending upon what you rolled was definitely going to be a level of info that you got. So, what did you roll?
So it was a 16, and then it went, "Fuck you." Here's a 1.
So,
Which
so
ends
Elzarin.
up being 6, 9.
Okay, so Elzarin definitely definitely feels that these creatures had some sort of connection to magic. And if you look at the picture, that's not the right picture. I'll do it. Let me go Shift C. No, that's not what I clicked on at all. Yep.
They're so cute at that age.
There we go. If you look at it, there definitely seems to be some sort of like weird script or maybe even like runic or arcane markings on the claws. But when Elzarin looks at that, he just is confused by it. Like it doesn't make sense. Like
Okay.
why someone would like take the time to like try to write this. And the other thing that is equally confusing is that the markings on both claws are wildly different and doesn't seem to be something that he can decipher. Like they don't appear to be any sort of like magical language he's ever come across before.
Yeah. But we're bringing the claws because the check was something where it's like we think we should bring the claws for the meat. And
Yeah.
stuff.
Oh yeah. You guys just like real crabs. The bulk of the good food is the legs and the claws. Like there's some meat in the body of a crab, but there's a lot of other shit going on in there that usually spoils that when you cook them.
Oh, crabs, right. I'm thinking lobster.
And yeah, definitely not tails here. Definitely not tails
because
here.
lobster has a decent amount in the middle. But
And Reamer, as you guys come up, these things are pretty tough. Like as you will remember, like they had an AC of 19. So like these things have like
Holy
a pretty tough armor to them. Like they're made to take a punch. And Baller, I think it was Baller. Baller kept just like hitting that right on the number last week, and I was like, God damn it! I thought they would at least get some free passes from, but Baller got some pretty big hits out. But anyways, you recognize this as like some sort of like almost like natural armor or casing. Give me a knowledge profession, like a profession, or I apologize, I don't have a D&D Beyond thing up in front of me, so I don't know what the skills are, but like something
Right.
that would like whatever you would consider your best skill for knowledge of crafting.
what kind of craft would it be?
What do you got? What do you got to throw out there?
Because you're talking baller, right?
No, not Baller. I'm sorry. I thought I had said Reamer. Like Reamer, as you come up, I had said Baller had found out how tough they were when he was swinging at them.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
But Reamer, you came up to like cut off legs and claws, and that's you start to notice just how durable the sort of like exoskeletons these things are.
Yep.
And I just wanted you to make like a crafting or a professional something check if you have something like that.
I mean, the thing I could say, you know what? I'm gonna compare it to how much I like the force I have to put into smashing the metal to get it to move with something. So I'm gonna go with shit. How do you even make a check with?
I mean, if it's for your forged tools, then it would just be your proficiency plus
unless
whatever.
unless you have skills in like profession, like armor smith or weaponsmith or something like that.
No, there's no profession. It's just tool proficiencies.
Oh wait, what were we using for the glittering? That you're right. Refreshing my. What were we using for the glittering debate when you were crafting? Was it performance?
Like 14 different things.
It's true.
What?
It is totally true. No, I
Um,
meant for like your actual like crafting. Like, was
yeah,
that
for
a
the crafting, I don't remember. But I would say it's probably
Well,
got to
let's
be something like.
well let's do this. Let's do this. Let's just create something on the fly for this because
Right.
this is something I want to introduce to you guys. And if it's too OP, it's too OP.
So
Why don't you
I'm kind
pick?
of arguing something where essentially what I would be looking for was if I have proficiency with whatever this check is, I get a +4, and if it's either wisdom, I get a +4 on in top, bleh,
On top
in
of that?
addition, or strength, it's a +3. I'm okay with
Let's do wisdom. I like wisdom because
Okay.
that's like wisdom is
And-
connected to
and I would
survival,
be-
and this is
proficient with this roll.
yes.
Or-
I would say so. This
Okay.
this is effectively looking at something in
All right, so
Well-
with that,
value.
that's a +8, so that's a 17.
17. You feel strongly that this is something that could be used to make like better armor for people that perhaps something stronger than like a leather armor or some of like but
Bring it fucking all.
but wait, but you're not sure how you would do it. Like that's something that you would have to try to think about or figure out later on.
Even
But you
more of
fe-
a reason to bring it all. Don't leave anything behind. I need all of it for study. Put it in the boats if you need to. Let's get going, guys.
Okay, so you're just gonna drag a boat back with
Yeah,
shit in it.
hey, there's meat mostly in the legs and claws. Bring fucking everything. Look at those spikes. If I can make that a body armor, you just be like X3. You just go up and hug someone and you kill them.
Or you could be like that really terrible character, Spike, where you just grow spikes out of yourself.
Spike from what? Like the X-Men?
Yeah.
Wasn't that
That's the
Storm's
same one,
like,
right?
nephew?
Oh wait, no, it's not.
Storm's nephew, right?
Was he? I don't know what his backstory was. I just remember from the animated show, Spike.
I
And I
remember
just-
some, but couldn't he throw them?
Well, like, yeah, but he would throw him like a dagger, kind of.
Yeah, at least he could throw them. He wasn't just like this spiky guy from X3 who
Porcupine.
was just like, I'm gonna give you a hug. Oh, it turns out I'm a fucking porcupine, you died. That's literally his contribution. It's just like, oh, if you want to have balloons around, I'm gonna ruin it. Those are the only two things he brings to the fucking table.
He's he's just the worst person to invite to anybody's birthday party ever.
Right. At least the other dude can like, oh, I'm trying to bring like these bone spikes out, and then I throw these spikes in a direction at something. You know, it's like, yeah, I could do that with the knife. It's like, fair. My power is kind of shit in comparison to I can heal through a fucking nuclear blast. Fine. I will give you that absolutely all day. But at least it's not just like, I suck. Just, my power is to just be the fucking worst.
I'm sorry, but can you imagine you're at like a hero convention and people are like, "Oh, hey, what's your power? Oh, what's your power?" And then there's just like Johnny upset at himself in the corner going, "I suck. I have the worst powers." And like everybody knows that person. Everyone's like, "Nah, man, it's cool. Like, there's got to be like something good you could do with it." And he's like, "No, I'm the worst." And you're like, "I just can't be around this guy right now.
No.
Like, I just can't do this."
No, he's right. He has the worst fucking power.
Yeah, just agree with him. Just agree with him and walk on. I'll meet
What's
you.
he
At the,
do?
I'll meet
What's
you
he
over the
do?
bar. I'll buy you a drink. Just
Well,
go.
Oh, he can cross his eyes but still see straight. Cool.
Good for you. It's like Meg.
All
She
right.
could grow her fingernails and pull them back.
Ah! Is it bleeding? No. But ow! Alright, so we're bringing every bit of this crab back. Because
How? So
we are making armor.
okay. So couple quick questions. The first question is, how are you bringing this back? Because
If first thoughts, put it in, pile it on the boat, drag a boat.
Okay, I'm gonna say that you can totally do that. No
'Cause
problem.
we
We're not gonna.
have-
We're not gonna.
3 strong guys.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say you can't do it. I'm gonna say the carrying capacity for a boat is not going to handle the bodies of these two creatures. You can get the legs and the claws in a boat. That being said, the bodies are so large, with the exception of like other vermin that are going to come and feast off of that. These things seem to be the biggest things you've seen come out of the water so far. So like nothing's going to come and get them. Also, if the villagers know that they can come and scavenge stuff off the bodies, they may know more about what to do with these things.
So I gotta sell it to him.
No, sell is money. We're gonna barter with them.
A trade. How about that? You can trade.
No, we're gonna barter with them.
So, honestly, those two words are synonyms. That's what they are. So.
No, we're gonna barter with them.
Okay, you can barter with them. Jesus. All right. So yeah. So if you guys want to take, and remember that like this boat that's right here was pretty much destroyed, and that this one was destroyed when Elzrin blew it up. So so this is really the only thing that you have to carry them. I will say that you can load up like the legs and the claws and lash it down and bring it back, and that the bodies themselves, I mean, obviously you guys fought the creatures, are very large and are right there. And I mean, you guys can do with them as you will. I'm just going to say that as far as like getting back to town, it's probably not something that's going to happen in this moment.
Could we put them like up over here, this area?
Yeah, like I'm not gonna like it could be fun for me to just watch you make like endless strength checks, but I won't. I'll say you guys kind of labor at it for a little
10
bit.
minutes or 40.
Yeah, or 4 hours, whatever. But
Right.
you eventually get both of. I'm just gonna put them.
over.
Yeah, I'm just gonna put them over here, like this, and basically they're so big that you just have like one leaned against this rock,
Yeah.
and this one leaned against it, right?
And
So-
it's at this point it's just spikes and crab body. So
just really, yes, that's all it is. They're kind of like stuck in the grass a little bit.
just we tip them over so that the spikes just dig in. So it's just like they're not going anywhere now.
Stand up to a typhoon like this. All right.
Right.
So yeah, so you guys you load up what you figure out is like the good meat, quote unquote, and you start dragging the this boat full laden with crab meat, back to town. I'm gonna go ahead and switch your map around so that you can see a little bit more of Port Tusk. And so right here on the map is the place that you just were, Fisherman's Beach, which is right there. This is the road that you guys came down, that when you got into town, you basically handled. This is the road that, well, I could click right here so it's a little more defined, but that was the road that you followed into town.
Yep.
When you first came into town, you basically wound up right here. And so since we are now starting to show stuff and things, I will show you that
we need at least
9 are houses and tents. And so you guys kind of came into a little bit of a settlement, but you haven't seen much more of the town and the area. But that was where you bumped into Lyle, and Lyle kind of started to give you a little information about, about Sharg, about whatnot, and then the whole scenario with this person like screaming went down. This time, as you come back, maybe a little bit more tuckered out than when you left, because you've been dragging a boat through the dirt full of crab meat. All of the villagers that are still here in this section right here, I got to go back to this, that are still in this area right here, immediately are super pumped to see you. And one of the first people that sort of run up to say hi is the kids that you saved. And those kids look a lot like this. And
Okay.
so
Two things real quick that aren't gonna interrupt anything, but were earlier. Elzarin was not dragging the boat; he was behind. He was pushing it, quote unquote. And yeah,
I would expect nothing else.
And he is exhausted. And that is a 29, so everyone believes him.
Okay, all
Because
right.
he was pushing, so he's doing his part. And we've also got 3 strong guys, so.
You look incredibly tuckered out. Like you're ready to pass out.
But amazingly, he has energy all of a sudden when these children run over. I mean, he caught his second wind, even though he's not a fighter.
And so the little girl is the one that's down here on the bottom left with like the blue and red sort of shawl or cape on. And she runs up and she's just like, are they gone? Did you take care of them?
They won't be bothering you anymore.
And then she immediately turns around and she's like, they did it! I told you they'd do it! And like everyone's like, huzzah! And the town is super pumped. I like to think that the little kid image that's on the top that has the bow and arrow is not there, because that looks like a spaz, and that's not, you're not dealing with that at the moment. But that being said, the town like starts to like come around you, and they're like, they see that you brought back this boat of crab meat, and they're like, strangers, thank you for dealing with this issue. What do you need? How can we help you?
A place to rest would be great, and food for travel.
They're like, it would appear that you have lots of food for travel, but for now,
this can go bad. We were looking for something like that we can take on the road.
And they're like, oh, no, if you need, we can always have like Karumpa take a look at that. He'll know how to treat it.
Okay.
And so they're like, someone get Karumpa. And they're like, Karumpa. And they're like it's just, you hear this chorus kind of going out. And then some from like in the middle of this, that same little person, Lyle, walks out, and Lyle goes, Outworlders, you have done Port Tusk a great service. The first round's on me. Anyone who's interested, to Lyle's retreat. And he just like turns and starts walking away, and obviously that's not very fast because he's a very small little person. But everyone's like, huzzah, Lyle's retreat! And they all start walking this way. Where is my draw a arrow? Snap to center. You guys are basically like right about here, and they start walking this way, like they're going towards the bridge. I know that that's only 30 feet away, but basically.
Yeah.
What do you guys want to do?
I mean, we're going to Lyle's, right?
Yeah, I think that's the plan.
Yeah, drinks on
Okay.
him. So.
All right, so you guys...
He said the first round.
Right,
Don't drink too much or you're going to find out what that HJ is.
Oh,
wait,
wasn't
no.
an HJ, big boy. It was
No.
a
ZJ.
ZJ, that's what it is. HJ. TJ, that's GJ.
The HJ.
Doggy.
anybody
Been
can
to
do
middle
that.
school.
Yeah. Oh man. Anyways, all right. So you guys end. So
When we were middle schoolers, I feel I should clarify. Back
if
then.
so two things.
Oh, God.
Two things. As you guys start to make your way there, you realize that even though there is like this sort of stamped out dirt path that's running around all of these sections, which is this sort of like gray black thing. That not gray black, like gray brown, whatever, that's running throughout all of this, that there are no real walls or fortifications around anything. So like the homes that are here that you guys are standing around are like ramshot kind of tents or shacks, or like I said, I think you may have seen maybe like 1 or 2 story at most buildings that were not built perfectly. Like they seem like settlement dwellings that people that have a rough life at least have shelter over their head if there's rain, or to get out of like the sunlight or whatever. And so or daylight, whatever you want to call it. So you don't, no one seems, as Lyle sort of declares that, starts walking, there's no one that's just holding to those paths. So it's not like you have to be like, you know, like to get around. So I just wanted that to be clear. So if point where you're like, I got to get over to point B, no one needs to like draw a multi-angle direction to get there, unless for some reason, you know, you have a quirk that you can only walk on paths. If that's I just wanted to make sure that we cleared that up. But so you guys follow Lyle. Anyone that's following Lyle and is not staying with the crab meat, give me a perception check, which I think would be all of you.
So I guess that kind of brings up the question of the crab, right? Like, we're not abandoning that, and that is something that we would have been like, yeah, let's fight. Shit. What are we doing? So are we dragging that with us, or are we... Like...
Well, as you start to have that thought, give me everybody who's there that didn't just immediately walk off. And there's a little part of me that thinks that Els, when he heard free drinks, may have just taken off on his own. But that's just me, like, as the viewing audience.
He definitely would have started to, but then, like, as he looks back, as he gets, like, 10 feet away, he's just like, are we not going? What's... So,
all right.
If that gives disadvantage, or just he misses
just give me a perception check. Like, if you guys had walked off, I was going to handle this one way. But if you guys have that afterthought before you say we get to Lyle's, then so be it. So give me a perception check.
I think everyone who was actually pulling it.
What do you mean? I thought Els was doing his part too. It looked just like he was doing his thing.
Right, and everyone knows that he was. So, 20... Where's that? That's 3. 6 for Weimer. For Elzarin, wow, that's a 10. That's a 10.
And these are just perception checks?
Just perception checks.
Okay, 11 for Seraph and 11 for Baller.
Okay. Oh, this was a really easy one. I just wanted to give you guys a chance to roll some dice. And so you guys see coming from over here, like this sort of left-hand corner, coming out from behind what looks like an open air, like not an open air, but like a pergola kind of thing that has a sealed roof with all sorts of like stuff dangling in it. You see this, what can be only described as like a fish person that looks a lot like this. And he comes out and he's got this staff with this weird looking crab thing on it. And he's just like, "What is here? Fish require lots of attention." And like just comes over, like just sort of like he just doesn't have people get out of his way. He just walks into people and then they just sort of spread out around him. And he walks up and he's just like, "What is this?"
You deal with the fish?
"I am Karumpa. I deal with fish."
You're okay with that? Okay, that's cool.
Do you want me to deal with this fish?
Yeah, that would be great if you could make it suitable to eat. Uh, do we just take a number?
I will deal with this fish. And like you see him just walk over to the boat and like start like old man style trying to like grab one of the legs, and he's like and then he turns to start walking back towards where he had just come from.
Just like on the house, or like
I mean, you could. Do you want to ask?
I mean, Elzrin's kind of gonna wonder that like out loud. Like, I mean, what's the
You like you hear him like struggling, and he's like, "The fish will be ready soon. Come back tomorrow or tonight."
more quick?
And then like
Elzrin's
one of
all set. He's
and then
drinking.
like the little kid that was like with his face in a bowl that was over here. Can I do this again? Yeah, this guy that was licking his eyeball with like the green and yellow shawl comes up, and he's like, come on, we're gonna go to Lyle's. You should come. You guys are heroes for us right now. Don't worry about Karumpa. He'll take care of it. He takes care of all the fish.
Those aren't fish, but that's okay. Okay.
If anybody if you want to do a sense, if anybody wants to do if you want to follow him to see what he's doing, I mean, feel free. But basically, like this old man says he's going to handle it. It looks like he could probably use some help, but do with that as you will. I'm sorry, this old man fish, I should say.
Elzrin figures it's okay, so he's off to get some drinks. Reamer, on the other hand, is still worried about the bodies at the beach. Because he's like, I need to get those so that I can start figuring out how to make armor.
All right, so what do you want to do, Reamer?
He's kind of telling Seraph that.
I wonder if we can send someone to pick it up.
You guys, I won't make you make a perception check. It seems like right now, everybody, with the exception of Karumpa, that you've seen is super pumped that you've helped the town out and are heading towards Lyle's, which basically you can see is heading towards this bridge, and then they're like everybody's kind of crossing the bridge to go somewhere else. And it's not that far of a distance. Like this map isn't to scale, but it's basically like you can see that they're basically like they're starting to congregate right on the other side of the bridge, like right on the other side of this river that's running through town. It's dumping into the body of water.
Do we lose you?
No, I'm still here. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
So the town is pumped. We're still here.
Well, the town is really pumped that they still have one of their fishermen and the kids. But you're a good thing too.
All right. So they're pumped about all that. So what do we feel about the bodies that we want to recover?
Well, it sounds like Reamer wants to get them because he wants to try to do stuff with them.
Right.
And I mean, you guys can do whatever you want. right now, what you've seen is there is this old fish man that's sort of like one at a time carrying your fish. I don't know, some like 40 yards from the boat he can't drag himself over to a fish tent or something, and he said like, I'll have this ready by tonight or tomorrow, don't worry about it. And the kids and everybody else are skipping off to Lyle's, and you're not really sure about much more than that.
All right, so that's you're still wondering more, right? Reamer? Like we still want to try to verify that they're gonna help us with the body, I guess.
Yes. Anything that we can do to get those would be ideal.
Yeah, we want to mention it to some people. I guess the best thing is to go to the bar and talk with people and see who's interested in that job, I guess.
Yeah, kind of like where we are seen as heroes, kind of use it to our advantage.
Right, I like recover it as part of the payment, I guess.
And it's just like, I mean, I don't know what that's worth, but like, could you guys help us out, sort of thing? Because this might be some sort of ideal sort of stuff for everyone.
Yeah.
Okay, so everybody's just going to head to Lyle's then.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think Old Man Kruger has got the crab stuff all set.
Karumpa, yeah, Karumpa. I mean, Karumpa could probably use some help in moving the crab bits, but he hasn't asked for any help, and he just seems to be.
Ways. Old dudes like that know what they're doing, or if they don't, they're not going to ask. So, to Lyle's.
All right, so you guys walk sort of like behind the throng of people, and when I say you guys, I mean so Baller and Elzrin also are going to Lyle's, right?
Elzrin's leading the way.
Okay, all right, cool. So all right, so you guys basically like traipse across the this part of town that you're in. You see right here this sort of L-shaped building as you walk by it. There looks like there's all sorts of like herbs and dried flowers and various things that you're not really sure what they are that are like hung all about it, like in front as if they're drying or they're part of something. In the windows, you see like these like stone vessels that have like murky things inside each one of them, and you like there doesn't appear to be a sign on the building at all, but that's what you kind of observe as you walk there. And when you're almost to the bridge and you look over here, you see this large building that's to the right here that is roofed. It's about 1 story tall. Again, looks really kind of ramshackle. Like if you walked up, you could probably peer through the boarding and the whatnot that's making its sides. No real windows, just a big door. And then there are pens right here and right here that there appear to be like critters and creatures moving around in there that you're not like 100% what you're looking at. And then you get to this bridge and you head over, and probably the most secure looking building you've seen in Port Tusk yet stands a building with a very sort of like delicately lettered sign, as if somebody's taken the time with pigments or paints to write this out, and it says Lyle's Retreat. And I will reveal that on the map so everybody knows where that is. It just goes zoop, and so Lyle's Retreat is right there. There is it's not a double door, but it's like a large door that kind of creaks as you open it, almost like saloon door style sound effect. Like as you pull it open, it goes, and everybody turns around and they're like, hey! Like everybody's super pumped that you're there. And Lyle's like, we waited for you for this round. See that he's got a bunch of these sort of wooden vessels. They're not glassware. They look like they're wood that have been sort of bored out to make a tall, almost pint glass sized drinking vessel. He's got maybe, I don't know, 15, 20 of them lined up on the bar, and patrons are coming up and grabbing them. He just keeps filling them up and putting them down. And as you come in, he's like, whoa, I will give you some choice stuff if you want, but only you, because you've done us a service. And that's how this town works. And he's like, what'll it be? Will it be what the general masses are having? Or do you want some of the private stock?
Elsman's always taking the private stock. He's grown used to, the good life.
Okay, so you got one for private stock. Anybody else in the group?
We'll partake in that, I guess.
All right, and Reamer, are you a drinker? Or are you an abstainer? What's Reamer?
Reamer kind of he doesn't really feel like he needs to have any of it because it's just like, I mean,
it'd be a waste.
Exactly. He's like, no, I don't waste the good stuff on me.
Okay, and like Lyle kind of looks at you for a sec, and then looks at you and like realizes he's talking to a robot, and he kind of goes, well, at least, I mean, have one, just for if nothing else, just for the toast and the cheers. And he slides one of the tankards of what he's calling the regular across to you, and then he goes sort of like off to the side, and you hear like that classic like, and he fills up 3 of these like wooden tankards. He brings them out and gives one to Seraph, gives one to Baller, gives one to Elzarin. And he kind of climbs up on a stool and like realizes that he's still at like shoulder height for a lot of people. So he gets up on the bar and he's like, Port Tusk, today we've seen some tragedy, but we've also seen some hope. May the Outworlders continue to help us, or may we be allowed to shine blessings upon them as they go. And everyone like raises their wooden tankard, and they all kind of bow their heads. It's rather than like a cheers or like a kumpai or a prost. They kind of look, smile, and then they all like bow their heads for a sec, almost in reverence, and then they immediately take a drink. And Lyle said, and then Lyle quickly goes, and remember, it's only the first round that's on the house. And then he climbs back down and he gets behind the bar, and he's sort of standing there expectantly, as if like he knows that at some point you're probably gonna want to talk to him, so he's just hanging.
So just before, like, as everyone's taking a drink, Elzarin's gonna take this moment while everyone's still like not going, and she's like, and just praise be to Daryl, for he is the one who has delivered us onto thee, and all of his blessings be upon all of you. To Daryl.
And people kind of like look at you, and they're like, what? And you hear from like the between people's feet, the 2 kids are like, praise be Daryl. And people are like, shh. Well, no. I mean, well, whatever. It is. I mean, and the kids are like, ah, and they kind of run off. And you notice that there are other children, like lizardkin running around, as well as troglodyte children running around as well. No, obviously nobody's boozing them up, but they're this is very much
obvious.
the
I don't know, their society.
Well, I mean, they're in the
cool.
corner. Just they've got one.
I mean, they might have a cool society where the adults aren't just like such dicks about stuff.
They're all they're all 8 and they're all hammered. That's what's happening.
Perfect.
But anyways, So yeah, so you guys find yourself in this. As you glance across the room, um, you take in a couple things. The first is that there are a lot of lizard and troglodytes throughout this room. You notice that as far as Azamar, as far as humans, as far as any of the races that you guys represent, you are literally one of a kinds in this room. That's one of the first things you guys all kind of. You don't feel estranged though. Like in no way is the sort of warning signal from the sword going off in your head. It seems like everybody is very convivial and everyone is very excited that you've done that. Um, and as you're sort of standing there taking that in, this sort of he's not really jacked, but he looks like somebody that can hold his shit anywhere in the land of Sharg. This sort of like lizard folk that kind of resembles like a Komodo dragon, um, sort of wanders towards you guys, and let me give you guys a quick zoom in on him. He's large sword on his back. He has this weird sort of um, bladed stick thing across his chest. Some interesting arrows, and he's got these wrappings around his hands that accentuate his like his clawed hands, and he puts his hand out in that sort of like most Middle Ages of handshake way to like sort of grasp a forearm, and he puts it towards just sort of the center of all of you, and he says, "I am Captain, oh man, Zrix, and I want to thank you for handling a situation that I could not handle while I was away." And he kind of like puts his hand out, but he also like doesn't know like if you would understand what he's doing, so he kind of like puts the tankard that he has out as well and takes a sip and says, and like kind of as he does that thing where like he puts it up, nods, and then kind of bows his head for a sec, and then comes back down, but he still has his hand out, like waiting to sort of shake if anyone will take it.
So Elzarin will go. It kind of like awkwardly trying to like copy the same thing and go, no problem, oh man, Slicks. We've got this covered.
Oh man, Slicks?
That's what you said. You said his
Captain
name is Captain
Zrix.
Man Zix. Oh, okay. Oh man Zix.
Like he kind of like I have to pause and just say like, are you intentionally fucking with him, or am I not coming across clearly?
No, I'm just fucking with you for a sec. You were like,
Oh, okay.
his name's Captain.
Right, no, I'm
Oh
fine with that.
man
But
Zix.
is my connection that bad?
So,
Oh, damn it.
No, so yeah, no problem, Captain. We're here.
And so he nods and says, I have to ask because it's my job to try and watch out for everyone in Port Tusk. Do you have plans to stay, or what are your plans?
That is an interesting question. I don't think we were exactly planning to stay, but we don't really know the area.
He says, if you're willing, it sounds like the town is probably going to be very excited to have you, and I wouldn't not expect that you'll have a place in the dark holes if you need one, and you'll definitely be able to have a few more drinks, if not free food, for the rest of the night going on from today. Why don't you have a moment tomorrow, if you're still here, to stop by the barracks, and I can give you the lay of the land around Port Tusk.
That would be excellent.
And so again, he says, "Thank you. The town still has 2 children and 1 seaworthy fisherman, and that means more than you probably can know." And he kind of does the whole like grabs his like holds the pint the wooden vessel up, looks at you, nods, bows his head for a sec, then takes a sip and walks away.
Okay.
What do you guys want to do?
I think we want to probably try and find someone who can get the crab bodies, right? Like we were talking about.
Yep.
So right now, around get this off the screen. Right now, like around you, there are people like sort of like milling about, finishing up their drinks, doing whatever, maybe coming up and ordering another drink or what have you. People like periodically come up and like kind of like are like, "Thank you so much, like very much appreciate it." At one point, the woman who screamed and like fell to her knees and then like passed out kind of comes up and is like, "I can't thank you enough. You're amazing." And then she's like, "Oh," and kind of passes out again. And you're like, "Oh my God, this woman."
Yes.
So, and Lyle is behind the bar as well, sort of like taking orders, but also sort of just, I wouldn't say holding court so much as just running what he does. And anyone who notices or looks over towards Lyle notices that what he's doing is when people come up and order another drink or do whatever, he has what looks like a ledger or a book, and he's making like a series of notations or like hash is it hatch or hash marks in the book next to what looks like names or symbols or something like that. Oh, and I forgot to mention the general drink that if Reamer took a sip of, and Reamer has the ability to like notate tastes and essences and whatnot, tasted like a pretty standard Weissbier, which is sort of a cloudy general consumption beer that is good to have about, somewhere between like 3 and 18 of, and you're still doing all right. I mean, well, at 18, but like, you know what I mean? Like, it's a beer that you can sip a number of and be fine. Yeah. On the other hand, though, the special brew was amazing and had what seemed like notes of mango and possibly passion fruit in it, and was something that immediately refreshed everybody who had it, in the sense that like it wasn't something that, like, how sometimes you'll have or a beer or whatever that is so strong that you're like, this tastes great, but my nose is already buzzing because it's so goddamn strong. Or you'll have something that tastes a little fruity and you're like, well, that's great, but now I feel like I just sucked on a cube of sugar. This is somewhere right in the middle, and this is amazing. And you're just like, I could have several more of these because these are delicious. So what are you guys doing?
I think we're riding the high and just kind of playing the hero card tonight and seeing if we can get people who will help us for tomorrow.
Okay. And so like people, like I said, people are coming up, various folk, and they're saying what they're saying. Is there somebody specifically that you kind of want to talk to? Is there something that you're looking to do? Is there a question you want to ask someone as they come up? Or do you want to like turn and ask Lyle? Or like, what do you want to do?
You know what I think it would be like, as people are coming up and like talking to us, it's like, Oh yeah. We're here, kind of like a we're here to help sort of thing. But speaking of which, do you know anyone who might be able to help us tomorrow? So kind of as people are saying stuff to us, we're kind of then being like, yeah, we assuming kind of anyone's like, hey, is there anything I can do for you? If anyone offers, it's like there is. So, kind of taking advantage of that if we can.
Yeah, sure. And so there's definitely a couple people that come up and are like, we'd love to buy you another round if you. And it's not really buy, but like we'd love to get you another round. And they're like, if you're interested, I'll just say to Lyle, put it on our tab, help you guys out. And okay. And what can we do? And I assume that at that point you kind of like throw it out there. You're like, so there's these huge crab bodies that we could use some help with getting back, because we want them. And people ask, they're like, so I mean, first of all, amazing, and yeah, we'll get some folks to help, but why do you want the crab bodies? Like, what are you going to do with them?
I must forge.
They're like, forge? What does that mean?
I will create armor. They are strong. They will protect.
It's a way Daryl works through Reamer here.
And so they're kind of like they're kind of thrown off. Like they're still a little confused by like this talk of Daryl, but they're like, well, you should probably talk. One of you should probably talk to Raz then.
Raz
is our maker. He's the and they kind of they're like he makes things for us. He's not great, but like when we need things, like if we need to like make a door and that door needs to open, and so he makes like a hinge or a bendy thing that'll make the door open. He does that. Sometimes it takes him a while to figure it out, but I mean, he does stuff. So you should totally talk to Raz. Maybe he can give you some insight.
Excellent. Where is he?
And so I will totally show you on the map where Raz is, but I need to take a quick break, so I'll be right back.
Okay.
I don't know if there was anything I was asked in between. I just needed to get up real quick and help Carolyn out.
Yeah, I've at times I've had to like jump up and run for stuff too, but I don't think so.
Okay. I missed a couple things where they were, coming over. So.
All right. Well, good. Then it was something where it was like I was on it. The one thing that you're gonna have to just be aware of is that Reamer is about to leave this bar.
To find Raz right away?
Yeah.
Makes sense. Well, same shit as always.
The guy. Just get it. He just got his 30-day anger chip. It's the 30-day chip. Anger management. And he's like, God damn it!
John Mulaney.
Now here's the thing about What's New Pussycat. Is when you hear it at first, it's like, okay. And then the second time it comes on, you're not thinking, oh, someone played What's New Pussycat again. You're thinking, What's New Pussycat is a lot longer than I remember.
I can't remember the song he compares it to.
Time's the kicker.
Yeah, well, yeah. It's either
whoa.
What's New Pussycat is like, yeah, longer than I imagine, and they played it twice, or they played it 4 times.
My friend's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Hold on. There have been studies done to see if grown men will cry. And now I forget what the song is. Ah, shit.
It's not unusual.
Yeah, I was...
Let's throw one in. Well, it's one not unusual. I just like with that part too is when he's saying like, and my best friend John, my friend's name is also John. I'm not saying I'm my own best friend.
See, I don't think that was in the one that I saw, and if it was, then I don't remember it. But I'm gonna blame the version.
Yeah, I don't know. It was definitely on the album version. I don't know.
So, I always remember it from the Comedy Central Presents.
Oh, okay, that's why.
So yeah, because I've what I've seen of Mulaney is I haven't gotten like his albums or anything, but it's something where I saw the Comedy Central Presents and then the two. Was it 2? I think because what was it? The one where it was like I'm a little boy. There was boy in the title of the first one, and then there was live at, was it Carnegie?
It's always fun to come back into a conversation and hear "I'm a little boy" as like the opening line as you put your like earpiece back in. It's great.
And she's thinking that I'm a danger, and it's just like, no, don't.
Is this John Mulaney?
Yeah, I'm trying to think because I'm butchering it right now.
I'm not going to murder you.
No,
I'm a little boy.
I'm not going to hurt you. I'm a little boy. Which, in retrospect, is creepier.
Debatably more terrifying. All right, so we're back. People are coming up. You're talking. You're chatting with them. Reamer asked a question about the crabs. Finds out about the this sort of like maker that's in town. His name is Raz. You get some general directions. I'm just gonna give you a little more exposure on the map to show you like what number he is. I have labeled this the blacksmith, but let's just say like don't get your hopes up, Reamer. Okay, does that make sense?
Reamer's gone. He didn't hear you. He's on his way to the blacksmith. So
all right. So anyways, so basically they're like, yeah, you can either follow the riverbank to the other bridge and you'll find where Raz lives, or you can go out and go back across the bridge and cross the first bridge. The two bridges are known as First and Second Bridge, and First Bridge is this one. That's a little older, a little more beat up. That's right here. And Second Bridge is right here. And Second Bridge is actually a bridge that has 2 parts to it. You noticed this as you guys came over. Basically, the bridge is a little wider and has like a central arch support system that supports the 2 spans as it goes across. I know on this map it looks like they're roughly the same size, but that's just something that you guys have taken in as you're doing this. So, Raz, I'm going to say that you kind of like exit stage left, and as you do that, like no one stops you. Like you take off, and you're going to go and do your thing. And Lyle kind of comes up behind the party members that are still there, and he says, "Gentlemen, it sounds like lots of people have offered to buy you a drink. Do you wish to sample more fares, or what would you like? Or what can I do? What can I answer for you?"
I mean, your customs are still strange to us.
Says, I felt the same way when I first found my way to Shark.
Like this bartering system in the ledger seems like currency, but with extra steps.
So the best way to think about it, if I can do this, he's like, like you can see he's like kind of trying to pick his words and figure out what to say. He says, if you provide a service for the village, you're automatically guaranteed stuff. And he looks at you and he goes, this sounds terrible. And honestly, I don't know how better to explain this. If you provide a service to Port Tusk, the people of this village will repay you for your services by providing you what you could effectively call 5 days worth of rations. Because that's really what it comes down to as far as value of anything in this town. There are various people in this town that are looking for very specific things that will give you other things for the stuff that you bring them if you bring them those things. But for providing services to the town as you have, understand that for the next 5 days, you are, without a doubt, covered for using the dark holes when you need them and food.
What was that first part?
Which part?
The dark holes?
The dark holes. He goes, again, I apologize. I haven't really ever had to explain this to anyone before. He goes, so you've noticed the giant flaming sunball in the roof of this place in Sharg.
Well,
Yes?
That's right. It's never night.
So even the folks that have lived their entire lives here need to not be in sunlight sometimes. For folks like us, we have a more regular system. You'll grow accustomed to it a little more the longer you're here, but you need to have some dark time for your system to not freak out. Trust me, I did not figure this out for quite some time, and you're lucky that you made your way here as soon as you did. But the dark holes are just what it sounds like. There are a series of buildings that once you go through the tarp on the outside of them, there are these small, comfortable pits that you can sleep in. Now, this may not be the best scenario, but for whatever reason, there aren't bugs, there aren't any gross things in there. There's just these pits that you can go into and sleep and be outside of the sun and come out refreshed. And I will make another reveal on the map and show you where the dark holes are. And so there's one on either side of the river, facing each other, basically. Right here, right here. Lyle says the custom is that you go in, your eyes kind of takes a moment to adjust to the darkness. If you find a hole, grab the hole, grab some sleep. No one will bother you. What other questions do you have?
Are there any surrounding towns nearby?
He says, I have heard tell that there is at least one more settlement away across the Great Sea called Shantytown. But I've never been there and I don't know much. The only person in town that might have some more information about that would be, and I gotta go back to my list, would be you can just say Bub. She's in what is the closest thing to a church that's in town. And I will reveal that. Excuse me. If you're looking for another settlement, that might be your best bet to talk to her. Her full name is Bub, but if you call her Bub, she'll understand.
And does he describe this thing as like a church in any way?
He says, I think... Well, so... Yes and no. I'm not trying to be confusing, and I know this sounds super confusing, so I apologize, but, like, a church is a place of worship, right?
Yep.
What this is a building that faces the sea. And it's a place that when you go there, if you go there, you feel drawn to the sea. And the sea being that huge body of water that you fought those beasties from, that coming out of before. And so, like,
do these guys like worship nature? Like it's not organized religion, but they're still like, we worship the sea, we worship the sky, more like animism kind of thing.
he says it depends on who you talk to. So if you do go see Bub, she'll tell you all about the sea. But not many folk here in Port Tusk really buy into what she's selling. Most folk just want to give their reverence to the ball in the sky that they call the eye, and sometimes the eye asks for things in return, and that's generally when the Hung Mao will show up.
Okay, now let's click on that Wikipedia. Alright, let's click on that Wikipedia link. What's that Hung Mao?
Actually, I'm super interested because I actually grabbed something that I thought was cool and then translated it, and so I don't know what you're going to find when you do Wikipedia /
No,
whatever.
What I mean by that is we're reading about something on Wikipedia, and then we come across a word where it's just like it. Yeah, because of this thing, and it's like, well, I don't know what this is, so I don't know who he defeated. Click, and now we're reading about Hung Mao to be like, oh, okay, this guy was a badass. All right, where were we? This guy defeated him.
He
cool.
says, so he kind of like Lyle kind of leans in close and he goes, people don't like talking about him, but the Hung Mao they represent a certain level of power here in Sharg. I don't know who they serve. I don't know what they do. But when they come, they take what they want and then they leave. Or they come and they pass rules. But for the most part, they stay out of everyone's way and we stay out of theirs. And so, and like, he kind of like back, and then like his kind of like, you know, like monk shaven, like balding head looks at you and he goes, but that's serious talk. Today is a day for celebration. Not only have you brought food back to the community, but you've also saved the community, or some of it. I mean, let's not forget some people did die, and that's sad.
We definitely need more. We definitely need to know more about them. When I asked about different, towns, you didn't mention where they're from. Are they uncivilized?
He goes, I'm not trying to dodge your questions. He goes, it's just best not to talk about them. And then he goes, does anyone need another drink? I mean, some people have said they'd pick up your tab. Does anybody want to?
Are the Hung Mao just among us? They're the fucking synths.
And Lyle kind of like, he's like, I'll be back to talk to you gents later. And he kind of walks down the bar and he's like pushing mugs around. But he's like, let me know if you want a drink. And kind of like winks and points at you.
All right. So no one knows of like surrounding places. Is
We
this
we
like
were
on like
the
scale?
captain was gonna show us some stuff. I think the lay of the land for tomorrow.
Yeah, so Captain Zrix has offered if you come by the his guard shack, which I forgot to nope, that's not what I want. I want this to reveal. If you come by his guard shack tomorrow, he will give you sort of the lay of the land that he's aware of. And you guys know from where you guys sort of came into Sharg that Sharg isn't just like, I think for reference for you guys as players, Sharg is a lot bigger than Barovia, right? Like Sharg is
A country.
Sharg could be compared to like this underground continent that you guys are on right now that just happens to be underground and surrounded by massive walls of the I don't know, like the underlayment of Faerun. So you guys came down that huge cliff. You saw like way in the distance, you saw those mountains, you saw some of the sea. Now that you guys are like at the edge of this or that water body where you fought those crabs, you're like, this place is ginormous, for lack of a better word. And so
Right, but
what,
they're not. Well, I guess we'll find out tomorrow with the captain.
so the captain has offered to give you the lay of the land as best as he knows. Lyle has told you that if you were to go see Bub at the church, that she had mentioned, like in passing, sometime a long time ago, about something called Shantytown, and whatever that means. You guys have found out about what's his face, about Raz, and we'll get to that. But Reamer was just like, see you later, I'm out of here.
Hey, TJ, you know what Tom's doing here, right? You see it? He's trying to get us to go to Shantytown and have you say that like something about like it being
This is-
shitty.
No,
And then he's
Oh,
just
yeah.
gonna be
So,
like
wait,
on
wait,
Saturday,
wait. So-
not this
so-
Saturday, but the next Saturday, he's gonna be like, I can fucking stab anything. It's all.
No. So wait a minute. So first of all, that's fucking hilarious because I honestly have never thought about that. Like when I drew up what Sharg looked like a month and a half, 2 months ago, when I was sitting in a car with my daughter sleeping in the back seat, and I was just sketching madly in like a little journal that I had. I was like, oh, this place could be this, and this place could be this, and this. And I was like, what should I call that place? Because this is what it should look like in my head. And I was like, we should call it Shantytown. I was like, Shantytown. And then several weeks later, we start playing the pirate game, but like the pirate game with Wolfgang and Brian and everybody. And Shitty Shanty just was like, I don't even know if my mind made that correlation, but until Kevin just said that, never even thought about it. Never even crossed my mind. So
So it was subliminal even to Tom.
yeah, I was pulling the wool over my own eyes as I was
You
doing it.
inceptioned yourself.
Dude,
I did.
He
I was like,
actually is turning into Hal, and he's forgetting the reason that he does things. It's like, oh, I'll call it Shitty Shantytown. No, that's too obvious. Shantytown. Why? I forget. I'm Hal.
but I'm Hal. Oh man. But anyway, so yeah, so like Lyle has only so much information, and he is being as sort of open and honest as he can with whatever he knows. But he does ask if anybody in the group would like another drink. Does anybody want another drink?
Yeah, Elsrin's having another one.
The general like Weiss beer or
No.
the fancy stuff.
Fancy stuff.
Okay. How
Taking people
about
up on their
Seraph?
offers.
How about Seraph and Baller?
Baller, yes. Seraph is going to keep his wits about him.
Okay. So do you want like a Weiss beer, or do you want
No, he just wants to, you know, I guess nurse whatever he has, and then just. I want to make sure that the gnome. I want to be like if he gives us a drink or the rest of the party a drink, I want to know if he's marking that down.
Okay. Well, what he had said was that a number of patrons had come up and offered to buy you drinks. So you will notice him marking things down, but he's marking them down with regards to like the people who had offered to buy you drinks.
Even the high class stuff.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
But not after that first. Only the first one was free. Right.
Yeah. The first one. Yeah. The first one was free, but as people are coming up and like getting more drinks or doing whatever, he's just got this book and he's like just making a bunch of marks in it. And so two more of these sort of mango passion fruit drinks come out in front of Baller and Elzerin. And so as you guys are drinking them, I don't know if you guys have ever had this experience. Like one of the worst things that happens if you like really enjoy beer and you have a beer that tastes delicious is you're like, that was so good, I'd like another one. And you drink it and your mind has already told you it was better than it was. And you just go, ugh, I don't like this anymore. That is not the experience that you guys have. You guys like immediately have that same like brightened, refreshing, like, ooh, this is so good experience. But I would like both of you to give me a con saving throw.
$16.
And is this against poison? Well, alcohol, poison.
Yeah, I was thinking about it, and I was like, yeah, you could make that argument. So sure.
All right. Just want to make sure, because I'm pretty sure Baller is...
Ryan George just made the argument that it was poison.
Wait, who?
Ryan George. I'll just link the video. It's
okay.
For Baller.
Oh, also, I'm just realizing I have more things to show you guys, and so. Oh no, I'm not trying to cloud areas. I want to reveal areas. All right. You guys also know about the fish market, which is where Karumpa was dragging the crabs.
All right.
This video.
Did I tell you that like as you crossed the bridge, did I tell you what the building was that was in 2? If I did, I want to reveal it, but if I didn't, I'm not yet.
In 2, is that? No, wait, where are we? So we crossed.
You guys are right here.
You
guys are in 3.
You said something about it. Now I'm forgetting what it is.
Well, I told you that there were pens outside and that the building looked itself. It was like a 1-story large roofed building that you could kind of look through if you wanted to come up and peer through the boards. But I don't think I said what it was.
That was 7 the one that was more of like the alchemist shop?
Yes, but it didn't have a sign out front of it.
Yeah. So like that's kind of the impression that I got. 2, I forget. So
yeah, no, 2 I don't think I told you what it was. I think I just described it. So cool. All right. I like if I had told you what something was, I didn't want to not reveal it. That's all. So anyways, so you guys, you're there. You guys both like, well, actually, TJ, what did you roll with your knowing that it's poison kind of thing?
18.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you guys are both totally fine. And you just really enjoy this drink. You're just like, this is so good. And Lyle kind of smiles. He's like, I know, right? And you're like, I know, right? Kind of thing. And it's great. Reamer, you have set out from the bar, and I don't want to not talk about this. So you leave Lyle's retreat, and which way do you go? Do you kind of like hug the river and go this way, or do you cross the bridge and come back this way? Because this is where you're headed.
Yeah, you know what? I'm thinking we just cross. Just hug. Maybe I just have to go free. No snapping. Yeah. This way.
So I still don't know how to do that, but that looks so. Anyways,
Hold left click and then right click. Ready?
you know what, Kevin?
Right click.
No, Kevin. Sometimes
Right click.
you just want magic to happen,
Right click.
so calm down. So, anyways,
Right
and
click.
again, remember that as far as spatial distances, like, stop drawing pentagrams. As far as like spatial distances go, nothing in the map currently is to scale in the sense of, but so you head out and you notice right away as you're coming by here that's like clearly where like the guard shack is, because it looks like kind of a fortified building. It doesn't look like something that was built to like withstand armies or whatever, but it looks like it was built out of like more stone than wood kind of thing.
Right.
As you come by here, why don't you give me a perception check?
Nope, we gotta go to Reamer. Plus 19.
19. You see these two structures that are maybe like 6 to 8 inches off the ground that just look like two sheer platforms. And by sheer, I mean like just smooth topped, right?
Yep.
There's no markings on them. They don't appear to be anything. You just notice that there's like this, like sort of the northern one is a little rectangular. The one below it is kind of like diamond shaped. And apart from that, that's all you notice as you walk by that. As you get here, you see sort of like tents and houses again. Here is one of those like dark hole locations. So you see these sort of structures that have these like heavy canvas tarps that you can kind of push through to go in to find like a dark hole to sleep in, kind of. And then you get to where Raz has been, where you've been told Raz is. And Raz's building is this 1.5 story building where on one side there's like this weird dome that you see some smoke coming out of. Not weird, it's just like, it's the only like sort of circular structure that you've seen the entire time that you've been here. And then the other side has this kind of diagonal sort of like lean-to roof for like a half story that's coming off of the first. And as you come to the building, most of the sides are all like paneled wood. And then on one side, right over here, on this sort of like southern side, you see that there is a door and that there appears to be no real light coming from inside.
Okay, so he's gonna walk up to the house or the building.
Mm-hmm.
And now, I was gonna say what time is it, but it's just like, oh, it's daytime. So he's gonna walk up, and I'm gonna circle. He's gonna circle around the building. Does he see anything like on the backside?
No, the building itself is all just sort of like wooden planking and paneling. You can kind of like try to peer through as you do that, and you see that most of the building is dark inside. It seems kind of cavernous, like the building's probably like, I don't know, 10-15 by like 20-25. So it's like a good size building. No real light as you get near this end, and this is the end that had that sort of dome-ish kind of ceiling that you saw. You do see some flickering light that looks like it might be firelight, like the dying embers of a flame or something like that. And it seems to correlate that this dome structure in the ceiling is like where the smoke comes out of, effectively, like so that there's a release, and you're not just like the smithy isn't just like chock full of smoke the entire time someone's trying to work there.
I always was, but with that, you said there was a door. I would like to knock on it.
Okay, come up to the door. Knock on the door. There's no response.
One more time, a little harder.
So you
calling
so
out
you bang
and saying,
yeah,
is
you
the maker here?
you bang a little harder, you call out for the maker. Give me a perception check.
So that is a 24.
24. It sounds like you hear somewhere coming from the other end of the building over here, like someone snoring.
I hate waiting. But Reamer will go, oh, okay. And then head back.
I'm not gonna lie. I thought Reem would start pounding on the door super loud. Like if you were like, Tom, put money on what's gonna happen. That's immediately what I thought was gonna happen. So
No, he's not K.
Meatbag, wake up now. I
Right,
need
exactly.
to talk. So anyways.
Your
So yes,
comfort
you
does
make your
not
way.
mean anything to me.
All right. Yeah, you make your way back. Yeah, you make your way back there, and you come back in, and people are still like having a good time. People are still coming up. Like as you come in, they're like, "Ha, saviors! Yay! Good guys!" And like people are like a big fan. Like everyone's happy about it. And so you get back in there, and so what is the party doing now? I know, like I'm gonna say that like you said that you took off relatively early into that conversation, so that like the whole conversation with Lyle, you really aren't privy to with regards to like like the Hung Mao and like some of the other and Shantytown and stuff like that. But so does anybody else as he's making his way back, as Reamer's back? Do you want to try to talk to anybody else? Do you want to try to talk to Lyle more? Do you want to just have another drink? What do you guys want to do? And actually, before you guys answer that, one of the things that I want to talk to you guys about, because we haven't had a chance to go over that, is fame and repute. And so, you guys, I'm bastardizing, and that's a terrible word, but I'm doing it. Something from another system and introducing it into this game, and that is fame and repute. And so, fame and repute are effectively two different scores that you guys will carry with you. Fame is how popular you guys are. And this is something that you can continue to build. And based upon your level, there will be a cap to how much fame you can have. And so currently, your max fame is, I gotta go back and look at the sheet because I don't keep this stuff in my head, is 32. What does that mean? That means that you can potentially have up to 32 repute points that you can then spend like currency. Now, repute points aren't spent to buy items or like, to talk to somebody to manufacture something. Rather, repute points are the ability to have specific effects occur. And so right now, you guys, as you gain fame points in the respectable sort of category, and you have the ability to make respectable appeals, like Yes Sir, Daryl's Boons, Humble Offering, Get Up, Keep Fighting, etc., etc., etc. And so when you look at the paperwork that I sent you guys, the values under cost is what it costs in repute points to make those effects happen. And as you continue to garner and gain Fame points, you will at some point and gain levels, you have at some point gain access to more things that you can spend repute on. Does anything happen if you have 0 repute points? No. It just means that you are using that sort of cost economy really fast and you're burning through them. Doesn't mean you can't earn them again. Now, how do you gain fame points, and repute points for that matter? Well, you need to make checks when you effectively tell people about your deeds. And so right now, you guys are in a bar that is celebrating you for what you've done. You've done something great for Port Tusk. And if one of you, and people can aid or however you approach this, if you would like to try and earn some fame and repute, I shouldn't say you can try to do that. What do you have to do? You need to tell the story of your deed of valor. Tell the story of what you've done. And so you don't actually have to do that. And Kevin and I were kind of chatting about this pregame. And TJ, I don't know if you caught any of it, like figuring out tech issues and whatnot. But effectively, you don't have to give you don't have to give us this crazy breakdown of what happened. You can just leave it to the dice. But if you want to role play it a little bit and try to spice it up or whatever, you might get a bonus or a benefit from that. And if you don't want to do it or you don't have anything to say about that, then so be it. And that's fine too. Effectively, to gain fame, PCs must stop in a settlement for a full. I'm going to give this one to you guys. And whoever is going to be the sort of the point of storytelling basically does some carousing and boasting to talk about deed or deeds that they've done. That person or the PC must make a persuasion, intimidate, or perform check to gauge the effectiveness of what they're doing. The DC of that check is 15 plus 4 right now, which is half the current party, which means the DC check is a 19. However, that's a check that you get to add all of your bonuses to. And if people can aid with this by rolling a persuasion, intimidate, or perform check at a 10 or higher, you can add to that an aid. If you pass the check, you will earn fame and repute. If you pass it by a number of certain other values, you can earn more and more and more. The one rule is that while you're in the same settlement, you can't talk up the same deed that you did. So effectively, like if tomorrow you're like, I want to earn more repute points, so I'm going to talk up that story, you can't really talk up the story because you've already earned the reward for what you've done. So you have to go out and do more things that you can come back and talk about, I should say. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yes. I mean, I think there's obviously going to still be some stuff that we need to figure out, but yeah, let's talk ourselves up. I mean, that's Elzarin's deal.
I kind of had as I was setting this up, that Elzarin was going to be, the mouth of the party, as it were. Yeah. But that being said, so if Elzarin sort of if you want to take the floor and kind of like do what you're going to do, like you've had your 2 drinks and whether you're going to have more or not, you're like, hey, everybody, do you want to hear about like how awesome I was today and what we did for Port Tusk? And people are like, yes, take it away. And if people want to aid, just remember that they can aid by making a persuasion, intimidate, or perform check. And they need to roll a 10 or higher.
And so I think what I'll do is I'll start having Elzarin tell the story, and what he'll do is he'll throw it to the different people to explain, and then while in the clutches of the 2 crabs, it's like no one could question his bravery and his strength, as Baller decided to take on 2 crabs based on their claws and stuff like that, and throw it to that person to kind of explain their little part. So that's where the
I like it.
the
I like it.
assistance comes in.
All right, so so Baller, if you want to try to aid like in some way, and you can just say I want to roll, or you can say what that is. Pick one of those checks and roll to see if you can aid.
And I do that for like each person as like we're telling the story and everything. So
Yeah, I had a feeling, and so we'll make it even clearer that like when it gets to Reamer for whatever you want to talk to Reamer about, Reamer walks in the door and you're like, and you point to Reamer, like it's like he'll roll and see what he does, but maybe he's just like and then I kind of thing. So everybody pick a except for Elzrin, because we'll save this for the end to see what he does. Everybody pick a persuasion, intimidate, or perform check and roll and tell me what you get. So I'm looking for Baller, Seraph, and Reamer.
all right, so Reamer's going with persuasion. Ooh, that helps.
Okay,
Natural
so-
20 for a 25.
All right, so that's a +2.
Baller got a 18 in performance,
Okay.
and Seraph got a 23 in persuasion.
All right, so you, Elzrin, have a +6 to this roll, plus whatever your persuasion, intimidate, or perform check will include. So you basically, so if you're going to do one of those, 6 to it, roll a die and tell me what you get.
Okay, so with their help, it's a 21. And then with my thing, that makes it a 32.
Okay, so how many more than 19? Oh, wow. How many more than 19 does 32 get you?
32 is 13 more than 19.
Okay, so if the character succeeds at this check, the group's fame and repute both increase by +1, which, because you guys are starting at 0 as you do that, it would be a 1 and a 1. However, if the result exceeds the DC by 10 or more, both scores increase by +. So effectively, right now, your fame score and your repute score are 3. What does that mean? That means your fame score will literally never go down unless like all of a sudden you decide to do the 2 kids you saved. Like if you do something that blatant and that sort of brazen and out of character of like heroes or whatever, your fame could go down. But apart from that, your fame will never go down.
I mean, would
Your
our
repute-
fame go down? I mean, I think it would go up still.
I think it
Just-
depends.
I'm
I
just
think it depends on the audience. But anyways, but that being said, so you now have 3 repute points. And so keep track of this, because I know that I will totally not keep track of this appropriately for you guys. But you have 3 fame points and 3 repute points, which means you could effectively spend some of those points and do the yes sir respectable appeal action, which is for the next hour, friendly NPCs will complete any mundane task they're assigned in half the expected time. So for example, for where we're at in the game right now, if you were to say, hey everybody, do you want to go down to the shore and bring back those crab carcasses for me because I'm going to make stuff out of them? And that they would say, yeah, sure. And if that was going to take, half the day, they'd do it in like 2 or 3 hours. So that's the kind of concept of what that first sort of yes sir action would do. So if you were to bring the crab bits to Raz, and you were like, Raz, how long is it going to take for you to try to make something that's like spiny crab armor? And he was like, it's going to take 4 days. You could spend those points, and he would say, well, you're a really cool dude, so I could probably have it for you in 2. That's the kind of concept. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Cool. Did I mute myself and then say
I was
yes?
just going to say, I'm going to assume by silence that's either yes
So,
or you're
yes.
just like, this is the worst idea. In so
No, that works. Again, it's still like, oh, jeez, fuck, ow. It's still like things that we'll have to look at and
well,
look
I
at
think
and
the key,
figure out as we go. But yeah,
I think that the key to remember here is that fame points and repute points. So your fame is a sort of static thing that every time you have the opportunity to like talk yourselves up about something else that you've done, you have the opportunity to build fame and repute. And then repute is a commodity that you can use to achieve certain things. Like, for example, if you had 10 repute and you find yourself in a battle somewhere, a bunch of you get knocked down and are at 0, and you're rolling, you could do the get up, keep fighting, where every PC and allied character in the party is affected as if Cure Wounds was just cast. So you kind of use your repute points to summon the powers of Daryl to affect you and those around you, kind of thing.
yep.
So right now, the thing that you just sort of keep track of is, what do you have for fame points? And right now it's 3. What do you have for repute points? Right now it's 3. And what are you going to do next to earn more of these so that you can continue to build? And fame points, if you read through everything that I sent you, will increase as you gain levels. And it will also increase as you gain levels what you have access to as far as stuff that you can spend repute on. That being said, though, like just because you gain a level, until you get enough fame to get to that next section, like, instead of respectable, you move to reputable, you won't have access until you have enough fame to do that, which is, to be honest, just a clever way of making sure that you continue to do cool stuff and tell people that's what that is. But anyways, all right. So it is quarter past 11. We've talked about fame and repute. I'd love to talk about it more. Questions and concerns, or okay with it, then so be it. I also want to make sure that before we kind of say that everybody retires or does whatever, like, what is everybody's plan, etc., as we move on. So I will roll a d4, and I will start with Elzerin. So Elzerin, what is your plan / goal? And is there anything else you want to accomplish tonight?
So I don't think Elzerin was planning on retiring yet. I think probably like a couple years down the road, he'll start thinking about that.
That's a good point. He still get a career.
Right.
I meant as far as go to sleep as opposed to the quit work.
Yeah. I don't think Elzerin's got really too much more he has to stay up for. I think we're good. Because I think he's kind of planning on talking to Captain Zix. I think was the name.
Zrix. Zrix. Zrix.
Okay. And so that was something where it's like, the plan with that was just kind of to get some rest, drink a little bit, enjoy the night, but get up, get ready, and see what this new world has in store for us. Sorry.
Okay. Cool. Roll the die, and so the next one is Baller. Senior Baller, any thoughts?
Baller's not really a guy with a plan.
Do I look like a guy with a plan?
Okay, so so let me ask you this: what is like as a player? What is Baller's plans for the next 4 to 8 hours?
I mean, I can answer. I'll say for Reamer, or not Reamer. For Seraph, uh, he is looking forward to talking to the captain tomorrow
Okay,
about the surrounding area and where it would be best to build and what we know of this world, pretty much.
okay, all right. Um, as far as Baller goes, though, like, is Baller going to just keep drinking, or like, what's going on?
Yeah.
Okay, so does Baller ask for top shelfer? Does he not? What does he want?
I, um, I'm pretty much just like you want to keep playing it out until he's drunk.
No, no. Like honestly, there are effects that can happen if you go any which way, and so I'm just giving you the option. Like, if Baller's like, I've had enough, I'm done. Those were two delicious beers, and I don't want any more. So be it. But if Baller is like, I want to keep drinking until people stop buying drinks or until Lyle stops serving me, so be it. And I just
Yeah.
don't want to deny you the you do whatever with your character. That's all.
Yeah, he'll keep drinking.
All right,
All
cool.
right,
So
and
Elzerin's out there drinking with Baller.
all right. So Els and Baller hang around. Kind of shakes his head. Is going to go do what he's going to do. And so, do Elzerin and Baller want another top shelf, or do they want another just like beer?
Yeah.
You can't go back. You can't go to top shelf and then just go down and be like,
No,
this
especially
this
not when it's still an option.
Okay, so yeah,
this
so you guys,
Pabst Blue Ribbon will be fine.
PB. I want a PB. I want a PB. So sure. So another top shelf of these wooden tankards come out to you guys. I need you guys another con save.
That is a 12.
Okay.
19.
19. Yeah, you guys are both totally fine. So you sit there drinking your beers, and again, these are delightfully refreshing. You feel great. It's just like, stuff is amazing. All right, I'll go back to Reamer and Seraph real quick and say, is there anything else that you guys want to do? I probably give Baller and Els one more con check kind of thing.
I think Reamer's just, now that he got back, he's probably just following Seraph and just being like, so there's this guy, I went to his house and they say he used the maker, but I don't know how much he makes, and I don't know if he has like a blacksmith. So what we're gonna do, I'm thinking, and he's just constantly fucking talking, just constantly going, and Seraph is just
wait.
I'm going to bed.
I just want to say this. I just want to say this. Seraph is literally taking on the role of Harbor, and Reamer is taking on the role of Hal. That's what's happening right now.
Not necessarily.
Well, this is because I mean, at no point has he been like, oh, I'm the only one who can forge your sword or anything like that. So, no, like possession.
Oh, fair
claiming.
enough.
But it's kind of like he's just so super excited, and he knows like Seraph like was the one who like had discovered him, so he's like got that connection. He's just like, and then there's this, I don't know how much he's gonna like, they were saying he makes hinges and stuff like that, and I don't know how much he's gonna be helpful. It might just be me, and it's just like, oh, okay, like I assume he's just kind of following Seraph like to the bedroom, as like Seraph is just like, okay. Oh, yeah, that's cool. All right, but it's time to power down. Okay.
Wait, and so as far as bedrooms go, if you guys head towards the black holes, you find one of these buildings, and there's like this heavy kind of canvas tarp and you push it apart. And as you look in briefly, as the light comes in, excuse me, and then closes behind you, sure enough, you see there are just like these, like 2 to 3 foot depressions in the ground, almost like almost like these sort of like half circles pressed in. And you see various other people like sleeping with like their head on the edge of it, or they're wrapped up, like curled up like almost like a feral, or like a kind of, you know, like everything clenched kind of thing. And you guys, this is weird. Like, I know it's weird, but Seraph, I'm gonna go with you first. You kind of put yourself down into one of these holes that's open. And as you come in, there's this weird sense of comfort that you get, like not magical, like enchantment or something like that, but rather it's just the closeness of it with the quietness, the darkness that you to right now have not been able to experience for days because of your trek here, and the sound of like other people's like breathings, just sort of like breath. And as you do that, you're just like, this place is really messed up, but this isn't so. And as you kind of do that, you just kind of to the side. You drop off. Reamer, I think I'd like, and you can correct me if I'm, but I'm pretty sure that unless we threw you in a pit of acid and your body started to dissolve, you could sleep in. And I imagine that you're so excited about talking to Raz and figuring out things to do with like crab bodies that you kind of get into a pit, and then you're like standing there looking around. So you sit down, and then you stand back up, and then you look around, and you stand back down, and then you're just sort of like, this isn't working. So you go over and you stand somewhere else in the tent, and then by the end of it, you just found a way to just go like, you know, like squat stance somewhere and just be like, I'm powered down. And then 30 minutes later, you're like, and I'm powered up. You guys go. I want to cut back to the where we have Baller and Els. And so our third round of the Top Shelf Stealth comes out to you. Whether you ask for it or not, it comes out. And as it comes in, two things happen. You give me those Constitution saves. But also, Elzarin, you feel a tugging on like your cloak or your pant leg.
Okay. So that is an 8.
Muted.
27 for the save.
8.
Well, so you beat me to the punch, but so Elzarin, you feel a tugging on like cloak or pant leg.
Okay. So if that's beforehand, I'll look that way.
All right, you look down, and it is the little girl that has like the blue and cloak, and she looks at you and says, "Thank you."
You're welcome, little one.
And she kind of like stares at you for a sec, and she goes,
Oh, it's Gamora.
"Wait, Gamora? Oh, Gamora. Yeah, all right." She goes, "Thank you," and then she says, "Sometimes people die, and sometimes people live. I'm happy I'm alive today. Thank you." And then she turns and walks away, and she still has his face in a bowl of food, and he's like, "Wow, wow, wow!" And she's like, "Come on!" And they head out. And then, what did you roll on your save?
An 8.
An 8. You take your first pull of this, and again, it's heady, it's aromatic, it's delicious. And as you turn towards Baller to say, I don't know what this is, but it's amazing, Baller, you just watch him gently put his head down on the bar and close his eyes, smiling. And he is out.
Holy fuck.
Well, I should
Um,
probably carry him back.
so
Was not
Baller, you like
expecting
you.
a one failure being out. Wow.
Yeah, but you seem pleasant
Yeah.
in your.
Yeah, I will say that in no way do you feel like, do you currently feel terrible in any way, right?
Yeah.
Like
No, it's
it
just
wasn't just
I
sort
I
of.
was I was surprised because I'm like, yeah, this is good. This is good. I thought it was just gonna be like I'm drunk. I wasn't expecting to be like, this is good. This is good. Good. This is good night. Oh shit.
And
So
all right,
and I don't know about it. So
all right, and so Baller, you said you were going to sort of pick him up and take care of him,
Yeah, bring him back.
and bring him back to like the dark holes, or bring him back
Yeah.
to.
bring him
All
back
right,
to the
so
beach.
just leave him for the crowd. So, so yeah, so you pick him up, and as you come over to pick him up, Lyle comes up and like is cleaning up cups, and he goes, "He'll be okay in the morning. He's just had one too many. He won't feel too bad, but he'll definitely have some interesting dreams tonight." And so he kind of takes the. Please know this is where I work. If you need to find me, I'm here. And he says like, "Good night to you, Sir Dwarf." And obviously, like he turns towards Els and just your shoulder. And so he takes a cup away. You guys sort of head back. Uh, like, do you kind of head towards one of the dark holes, kind of thing, or is there anything else you want to do?
I imagine if Baller is heading right to the black hole, is just that
Okay.
Elzarin with my height and then with my big fro on top of it. I assume that the fro is just dragging along the ground.
So it's
I don't
funny.
know if Baller is making an effort not to, since it has the symbol of Daryl like emblazoned into it, but
it's funny. I actually pictured that like Daryl being a dwarf had like your like sort of like chest and head on his shoulder, and that your feet were just dragging behind him and he was carrying. But whatever. I mean, like honestly, we should ask Daryl. Say, Daryl, not Daryl. I'm sorry. What Baller? Like Baller, what are you doing?
right.
How is this working?
Oh yeah, exactly. Just dragging the fro.
Okay, so like you firemen carried me, but you're only like 3 feet tall. So it's like both halves just like are barely like not dragging, but with the big fro that's just dragging along the ground.
Yep.
Perfect.
Amazing. All right, so
Excellent. You're covering your path up with my big fro just fucking taking away all of your steps along the pathway.
well, I mean, to be honest, that's just leaving a bigger path. Like it's not like it's not pass without a trace. It's pass without a drag. Kind of.
Pass without anyone knowing what the fuck went through here.
Exactly.
Did the crabs come through here? Someone starts screaming.
Just in one path, did they drag themselves through? I'm very confused now.
So I'm gonna say that like after a time and a little bit of effort, you find the dark holes. Same thing. Like you guys come into there and you drop you drop Els in, and Els is just sort of like just passed out already, curls up into a ball, like little depressions. Totally fine. Baller, you find a spot of your own, and the same thing like quickly sort of overtakes you. Like you come in, and at first you're like, what am I, like some sort of, like heathen or some sort of like weirdo? And then as you kind of like get in the hole, like it takes a little bit, and it's real.
Yes.
This is actually super comfortable, and I can totally get on board with this. And so you fall asleep. Everybody has a peaceful night, save Elzarin. Elzarin, you have a peaceful night, but you have a weird dream in which, while you're sleeping, you see like the land of Sharg as you saw from the cliff point when you first came in. And there's like so much land, so much territory, those mountains, weird cloud you saw, and all of the people that you've interacted with. And all of a sudden, like, light goes out, like the fire, this roiling stops, and everything's in darkness. Everything's silent. And then you hear a cat. No, that's my cat. I'm sorry. And as you're in this void, there's like a chanting, like in a language you can't understand. It just seems ancient in nature. And as the chanting begins to build in crescendo, there's like a crack in the ceiling of this darkened cavern that you're in, and emerging slowly, pushing itself through, there is this like roiling ball, and it casts light, and the darkness and the shadows go away, and what was barren, just in like this sort of like super fast forwarded film format, starts filling in with waters and like greenery, and after a little bit of time, like life that was here too, not there before. And as you're taking this all in, you can't help but notice the shadow forms over the roiling globe that slips through, and it falls far away from. But as that happens, the shiver runs over you, and like cold in a world where there shouldn't be any cold. And with that, you kind of like sit up in your sleep, and you find yourself in like utter darkness, and you're like in the dirt. And there's a part of you that's like, what the fuck is this shit? And then before you can even like remember, oh yeah, Darkhold, this is what we do, this is how we get out of the sun, you immediately just feel that same sort of like heady, fragrant pulse that was the drink that you were having in your nostrils, and you drop out again. And I think that's what we'll call it. And so with that being said, anybody have any recommendations for this week?
What have I been into? I don't know. I haven't really been into anything new. What would I suggest? I could suggest some, some older stuff, but I'm trying to think of what I would suggest for this week.
And it doesn't have to be crazy. Like, it's just something that you were like, oh, this is... I mean, so as you guys are kind of racking, I am just going to put out there that there is a YouTube channel called Sculpture Studios, and Sculpture Studios is the guy. Oh, shit! Suddenly, I was like, this is my recommendation. You should remember. I don't know if it's like Adrian Hayes, but basically, it's this English guy who is a sculptor that makes really cool sculptures for like movie sets and like just rich people that have money to do shit and whatever. And there are all sorts of things like hey, there's going to be like a celebration at like the Cannes Festival. This group that's like celebrating movers and shakers, and so we want this Art Deco like 12-foot tall gold iron thing, and he makes it out of like styrofoam, carves himself out of styrofoam, and that like he and his crew cover it in, like fiberglass, and then they paint it and shit, and it's amazing. And so usually the videos are somewhere between like 10 and 30 minutes long. It shows the process, and they talk about it, and they're like, no, this is the thing that we're going to tell you about. But it's just really cool to watch this guy using like hot wires or like just like wire brushes or whatever, and he just takes these pieces of styrofoam, turns into the awesome looking things. Like as a person who likes carving things into things, I like this is just amazing. Like honestly, it's one of those things like I watch and I like where my life has brought me right now, but like if I had known about this when I was, 15 or even 20, this is probably what I would have chased because this is real cool shit. And so I highly recommend it's the YouTube channel is called, or like the studio is called Sculpture Studios. And I think at last count, they said they had like some videos posted. They probably don't have that many. I guess there's some you don't subscribe, you can't look at or give a shit about that. But it's just really cool to watch this guy and his crew make these awesome things that come out of literally just large blocks of stuff. So that's my recommendation. Anybody else?
I mean, I've got the basic ones, like,
That new Will Ferrell movie on Netflix was pretty good.
The Eurovision one?
Yeah.
Yeah, I will agree with you, man. I will agree with you for two reasons. One, I watched that, and there's a part of me that just wants to immediately break into Ya Ya Ding Dong, and
Of course.
yeah, and then the other part about that is that all of stupid pop songs, my daughter wanted to immediately dance to. So I don't know what that says about taste in music right now, but at the same rate, when my wife and I watched that, she was super excited to dance to all of it. So we were just like, okay, awesome, do it. And understand that, like, somebody who's only like 18, 19 months old, their dancing is like stomping their feet and spinning in circles, laughing and throwing their hands up. But you know what they're doing. So I will 100% back up.
Yeah. And the elves.
Well, and the elf. Did I ever tell you the fact that I met an elf in real life?
Yeah, the woman.
Yeah. It's a super weird experience. Like none of that is a story I'm making as a false. That all happened.
What? You met an elf?
So a couple years ago, I was in Iceland. My sister Joanna went.
Do you
there
not remember this story?
Yeah. So
the story was on Saturday.
Yeah. So like Kevin's just like, I stopped listening.
Was this the one where it was just like in the morning?
Yeah, well, no,
that was the hippies that disappeared.
That was the hippies in the Gossamer Dam, but that was some shit that happened.
I mean, you think you saw dryads there or something?
Listen, here's what I think. I think I woke up and saw some shit I wasn't supposed to see, and that was really weird. And there's probably a really good chance I should never have shared that story with anyone. But that story is so weird, I share it with because it's so weird.
There's a good chance that I should have shared that with nobody, but I shared it. So I mean, there's that.
No, but the story from Iceland. So like, we go to Iceland and they do this whole thing where like it's legitimate. Like there are people in Iceland that are just like, elves are real. Don't not believe in that shit. And I'm like that's cute, but whatever. And like we think of elves and we think of Santa's elves kind of shit, right? Like these little people in like pinpointy hats that help make toys and do whatever.
Yeah, unless you've been playing D&D or Lord of the Rings.
Well, no, but like, yeah. Or if you read like Icelandic folklore, like elves, fae. I mean, that's the only way to describe them. And so when we got to Iceland, I had booked that I was staying in with my sister's friend Anna, and Joanna had booked for us, so she was in a different room, but it was like across this kind of central, I don't know, dais or like green area between, like in the center of Iceland, Reykjavik, I should say. And so the first night we get there, we check in, and Kevin, you can attest to this. I snore like a fucking shitstorm. Oh, yeah, so yeah, and so Anna was like, I'm never sleeping in a room that you're in ever again. So she goes and like crashes with my sister in her, and I now have a hotel room myself, and I'm this is not a lose. Like, I didn't just lose anything. I just gained not yelled at for snoring. So, but like that night, I like Anna's like, I'm moving all my stuff over, blah blah. I was like, okay, cool. I'll come over. You get dinner. And so it's like the end of the day, you know, sort of dusk, sunsetting kind of thing. And as I go across this green space, this woman is walking towards me who's wearing this, like, really, I don't know, man. Like, it's just like out of place clothes, right? Like, what she had underneath the jacket she had on, couldn't really make it out, but it was weird. She had these like stunning eyes. Like, I mean, like you know, you meet somebody and you look at them and their eyes are so bright and pure. You're like, I can't not look at their eyeballs. And she had this coat on that was like leather, like it was a leather coat, but it was all stitched together in like rough stitching, like think of like something an Eskimo should wear, kind of thing. Like, that was the coat this woman had on. And so I saw her, she saw me, I looked, she smiled, and I was like, I kind of smiled and walked, and then I stopped and I was like, that couldn't. And I turned around and this woman wasn't there anymore. Like, there was, and I was in like a clearing, I was in an open space. Like, there's no reason this person should have been able to disappear in the half a second it took me to stop and turn around. And you can call me crazy, but that's what I'm saying.
Okay. So,
Kevin, your tonality gives it all away. But fine.
no. Anyway.
Anyways, listen. If it was like then Houdini's daughter and she just knew how to disappear, good for her. Awesome. But I'm retelling a tale that happened in Iceland, which is a country that believes in elves, and I heard like a day and a half about how elves were mysterious and showed up and then disappeared and did all this shit, and then
Are
by
they
myself.
not little people there?
No. Well, what's weird is they like whenever they find like a really weird looking rock formation where there's like something interesting, like some sort of interesting growth on a hillside or something, they're like, oh, that's where elves live, don't touch it. And there's like this national prerogative to like not touch it. So like if a builder is like, I'm gonna build, like Kevin, if you and your dad were gonna build on a site that had this thing, you would have to build around the interesting thing in the center so you didn't fuck up the elves. Like it's crazy. Like so like this is crazy and madness. And then the other part about this.
Imagine not being able to build your house because you go to the planning board and they're like, no, we deny this plan because of the fucking elves.
I'm just telling you what the world.
No,
but what I will also
we can't
tell
build a bridge here because we'd hate to have the trolls fucking come up and fucking take up this fucking underbridge area right
trolls
here. We want that
wait.
further down
Trolls,
fucking river.
Trolls in Norway, man. It's a different culture. It's a different thing. And if you want to disrupt trolls, that's totally fine.
Solutions to you.
But listen. I am sharing experiences from around the globe. That's all I'm sharing. But anyway,
DJ, I knew you would like that one.
So, dude, I mean, this entire night I've been waiting to use no, we're not. Because when Tom was describing different things that like he's just like you have, and I'm just like, where can I use this?
Wait for it.
Well, there was never a chance, so all night you could have used that. Because if you remember correctly, he didn't use it correctly. That's not even an answer to the question. Okay.
Oh, but he used it in like such a way that it's like.
Oh, I know. It's the
you
why come you don't have a tattoo. It's not just how come you don't have. Why come you don't have a tattoo? From Idiocracy. I totally understand what you're saying. It's just that's gonna be difficult to find. But
oh, totally.
That being said, what I've seen of Baskets, which is Zach Galifianakis, I've only seen a little bit. I've seen one episode and then a little bit into the next episode. And Felicia described it well. She said, "I don't like this show, but it's funny and I want to keep watching it." And it's an executive producer is Louis C.K. So if you watched Louis and understand that it's just like, hey, remember how there were just episodes where it's just like, oh, remember how funny I am? It's like, yeah, you fucking won't for about 15 minutes. And you'll be like, what the fuck is happening right now? Why are we going down this weird twisted area of someone's fucking mind? That's what that episode of Louis is. Ha ha ha. What? So it does have a tinge of that throughout, but it's kind of sprinkled throughout. I feel like it's got a better mixture of like, oh, this is uncomfortable throughout this whole scene, but it's also weird and goofy and funny. So yeah, that was an FX show. I don't know if they still make it or whatever the hell, but Baskets, Zach Galifianakis, the little bit that I saw, I mean, there were things that I'm laughing hysterically at. It's some things that's just like, this is fucking weird. Oh my god, some of it's just so fucking funny though.
All right, cool, good. I'll like that was one of those shows that about, but I'm like, do I want to watch that show? I don't know.
Right, exactly. And like it was something where like at this point we're getting through some shows. There's nothing that really like is popping out for us where we're like, oh, that's right, we wanted to watch that, or like that looks great. We kind of see it and we're like, yeah,
yeah,
that looks like a sci-fi original series sort of movie or show or whatever. And I mean, if we're gonna get into it, it'll be kind of a last resort, and then we'll give it a little bit of a chance and then go, oh, nope. So
yeah, no, fair enough. I do have to say that if you haven't watched the like Eurovision movie with Will Ferrell and what's her name? TJ, help me out. Who's the woman that's in there?
Rachel McAdams.
Rachel McAdams. Like just like it's a movie that will like you will enjoy for stupidity, not because you're like, this is an amazing movie or whatever like that.
I mean, it looked like it was Blades of Glory, but Eurovision.
Yeah, that's essentially what it was.
Okay.
Yeah, the only like,
but it's worth watching.
Yeah, so. the only thing that I will say that was that really came out of it that was amazing was like they have like, did anybody watch Downton Abbey? My wife recently got on like a kick of watching Downton Abbey, and so she was watching Downton Abbey.
Felicia watched that for a bit. I don't know if she watched all of it or if she just watched some of it, and then she watched like 2 or 3 seasons and was like, this is boring.
So in Eurovision, there is like the Russian competitor, and apparently the Russian competitor is a guy that played a character on Downton Abbey. And so my wife was in like the thralls of watching all the seasons of Downton Abbey when we watched Eurovision, and she's like, oh my god, that's the blank. And the difference between the character portrayal of what that person is in Downton Abbey and what that person is in Eurovision, she was like, wow, that guy can carry like a lot of different kind of thing.
I don't know if you're gonna have more of a varied actor than fucking Ramsay Bolton though.
Yeah, fair enough.
Fair enough. Because you have him, and then when he was in Vicious, he's like this nervous, like almost like teenage like kid or like in his 20s, as opposed to this fucking monster person. And it's just like, so like the battle of the, like everyone's seen all of Game of Thrones that you want to see, right?
Oh yeah. Yep.
So it's something where it's like the Battle of the Bastards happened, and I'm seeing it and I'm like, oh, Ash, you're not usually like this. Meanwhile, like my sisters all watched it and we're talking about it after, and then it's just like, oh, I can't. It's like, see, I didn't really mind him as much, after a certain point because I saw him in something else, and I was just like, you're no.
And the show doesn't sound like it was horrible.
Right, as long as you
Yeah.
take it correctly and stuff. But at that point, it was still like oh my god. There are things that can kind of surprise me and not just go like, whoa, did you see this coming? No, because it's fucking stupid. Why would I think this stupid fucking thing has happened?
Yeah.
Ah, shit.
There's,
We're gonna start. Here it goes. Fuck. God damn it, Tom.
I think the actor's name, is Dan Stevens, I think. The one that you were talking about, Tom. That your wife saw on Downtown Abbey, whatever.
I think that's right. Yeah.
It's Dan something, and I'm pretty sure it's Stevens. So it's he was in Legion as well. And I don't know if you guys watched that FX show.
I watched
And
First season.
first season, amazing. And then don't continue it.
Yeah.
It's horrible. It's horrendous. Because the second season, I'm like, okay, they're building up, and like I saw an interview with the maker, and he did like the first season well because he was saying like insane man in a sane world or something is what they were having you believe. And then you find out like, oh, he's not just, or you don't know if he's schizophrenic, you don't know if it's just his powers or something. So the second season, they're like, okay, we're gonna do insane world with a sane person in it. So you're getting like a perception of like David's character, and you're like, okay, this is bizarre and weird because you're getting it from his perspective, and everything's just fucking weird. But then season 3, they keep building for shit to get like more and more intense, and they keep adding stuff. And then I've never been so disappointed in the finale than what I got from Legion. It was yeah, like because I was like amping it up because they had like a weird artistic showdown in the second season, and you're like, how are they going to top this? Because it's like this guy who's a parasite that's been feeding off of him and making like his entire life horrible. And
that's like the power thing that
the Shadow King,
right?
Farouk.
Yeah, the Shadow King.
Yeah, Farouk is his name. And
wait a minute, really?
Yep.
Dude,
it's Farouk. It's like slightly different. But...
So fair enough. I was just going to say, so that was like a unique name that came up not based upon anything, even though I was aware of like the Legion backstory. Like that was definitely not that's an interesting just like connection.
Yeah, I thought that right away when I heard that character, but like so. I don't know if you want me to spoil it because it's like it's
I kind of well, so I started to watch the first season and I got through it and I was like, this is interesting, but it's also so just sort of like what's a good word? Like it's so juxtapositional, like you're watching and then all of a sudden it's like take a left turn and now you're going to watch the show from this vantage point. And then take another turn and you're going to watch from this point. That I was just like, I just don't want to watch this. Like, I know it's about somebody that's crazy and that they have some weird shit going on, but I just didn't get into it.
Yeah, they had a lot more of that happening in the third season. And I'm like, we don't care about this character. Move on. Like, who likes this character that you do an episode? And there was like just a bunch of that. But like, pretty much, I'm gonna spoil it right now. So, they
you dick.
They do a bunch of time traveling and whatnot, and David, the main character, is like, I'm gonna go back to the past, help my father defeat Farouk, and all this stuff, and like undo all the trauma, and then he goes back to Xavier, who like previously defeated Farouk, and then they both try to team up on him to actually destroy him instead of him going and escaping to the astral plane. They were gonna like actually destroy him, and then like Farouk from the future also goes to the past, and now it's 2-on-2, and you're like, okay, this is gonna be a crazy battle, and then they end up just David fights Farouk from the past, and then Farouk from the future talks with Charles, and then he's just like, yeah, your son's great, and I learned a lot from, being a parasite off of him and doing all this stuff. And then Charles and future Farouk come back and like break up the fight that was horribly done because they ran out of fucking uh like their money. Like you could just tell it was just like where's the production value? You're just like, this is horrendous. And then they were like, hey, you know how I ruined your entire life and I just killed your sister at the beginning of this season? Hug it out. We're gonna just go our separate ways. We're not gonna talk to you. You don't talk to us. And he's just like, okay. And then it was just such a drop. And then I went on to like the Legion on Reddit, and then people were like, beautiful, and I'm like, just go fuck yourself. How can you come to that conclusion?
Yeah.
Just, it was so impossible, because how can you just be like, this guy killed this person, ruined this person, did this, did that, and like the argument there was like, oh, he just
to torture your fucking life since you've been Remember. You know what? That's cool. Oh, okay, he's fucking Buddha. Alright, so you should have renamed this Legion, aka Buddha, because that's the only fucking person who is that fucking forgiving for fucking with your entire goddamn life. Are you fucking serious? That's terrible. Beautiful.
So I'm not like, so we clearly all have.
It's probably
we
some
clearly
stupid
all have
fucking metaphor for like, oh, you accept yourself and you don't have. Shut up.
Yeah.
Jesus,
like go
no,
hate and all this stuff.
So
Xavier
we
just
all
a fucking
have various
psychotherapist.
TV shows / movies that we have seen that make us insanely irate to talk about. So agreed. I was just gonna say that like a previous recommendation that I made on Thursday nights was that instead of watching The Old Guard, was to check out like the late 70s, early 80s movie, The Highlander, even though it's not amazing. But no, it's amazing for what it was. Don't just expect to get blown away. I don't expect that you guys have watched that movie, but if you have...
I have. I've seen
but if
it.
you...
Sean Connery, and then just like this old weird dude with the fucking like stitches in his neck, and then like no one ever goes up to him. It's like, dude, you're super creepy, and no one fucking says anything about him.
There's a lot of shit going on in that movie. I love that movie. But what I'm saying is that if you then decide that you're going to watch The Highlander 2, basically this is what Hollywood did. It was like, oh, remember the end of Highlander when, the last person that was like an immortal was chosen because he defeated the last immortal? No. Just no. Nope. And you watch that movie and you go, I don't understand. You took a beautiful ending to a where there was closure, and you went, nope, here you go. Here's something else. And that's just bullshit. Sometimes when you reach the end of it, like a fucking cycle or a story, that's the end of the cycle of the story. Like, you don't go back to it anymore. Find another well. Find another place to go. But I do have to say that, like, so as a person who grew up like reading comics and everything, and Legion was somebody that kind of showed up as a character shortly after I kind of like got out of like buying comics and following up on storylines. But several years later, somebody had told me about it, and I remember like seeing in a comic book that either somebody handed me to read or like I had picked up and read it. Legion was this character that was literally changing like the molecular and like atom-based structure of the world around him, because it wasn't what he wanted to see as he walked into a room. And I'm like, this is the most ridiculous character I've heard of. Like, Imagine walking into a room not just saying like, I don't want to see white walls anymore, see green paint on the wall, but also saying that like everything in this room is like a bouncy toy. And whether that was a human, a cat, or couch, it didn't matter. That was just what he did. And I'm like, this is fucking crazy. And so when they made that show, and I started watching. I'm like, okay, this is the descent into him acquiring that level of, like, crazy power. And like halfway through that season, I just went, he's still complaining about that. I was like, I don't want to watch this anymore. It's just, it doesn't, like, that's why I stopped watching. It didn't bring me to the seeing that yet. So,
There were only a couple scenes that they did like something amazing, where the Shadow King acted through him and just like destroy people, and I'm like, that's an amazing scene. And then at the end, he kind of gets control of his powers, and you're just like, oh yeah, he's essentially God. He just stacks people up on like into a pyramid. He just snaps his fingers, and it's like all your guns go away, and you guys are now just in the shape of a pyramid, and that's it. And
Yeah,
it's like,
was that
fucking
end of
awesome.
the first season?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because when he went in, like, to get, I forget what he was getting. I don't know if it was his sister or whatever, like into the facility or something, and then like the camera picked up on like other things, and it was like, you know, that was like the power of whatever, apparently Farouk, or whatever it was, and it's just like, oh yeah, it's like, yeah, that's, dude, that's what we've been waiting for. It's just like
Yeah.
him to actually have his fucking power. I don't want to watch a show about someone who doesn't have powers. You
oh, I'm
fucking
sorry. Are we
kidding?
talking? So I don't know how, like, crazy into comics you got, but like, so like Legion is considered one of
He's
several
Omega level.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Omega
he's
level
Omega.
mutants, right? Yeah, where basically, like, these are beings that have the power to effectively control, destroy, or right everything around. And there are only a limited amount of like mutants that have Omega level mutant powers. But I find it so amazing that Marvel continues to write Omega level mutants that have like super fucked up backstory. Like I don't know if you guys, like, are you guys aware of like the superhero Sentry?
And isn't that DC?
No. So, well, there may be a Sentry in Marvel. Sentry is like Superman. Think of like Superman to the max, and
I
that's
mean,
Sentry. He's
the
like
way they're doing Captain Marvel now.
well, he's like a white guy with like blonde hair, blue eyes, like just super whatever. But his issue is that he's super, um, what's the condition where like you don't want to talk to people and you don't want to be around them because they, like, you just feel like you don't belong around them. I forget what it's called.
Human?
It's like a,
'Cause they're
no,
all
you're
omnivores.
starting to narrow it. No, like instead of having delusions of grandeur, it's like the opposite end of the spectrum for
Yeah, it's
delusions.
like social anxiety.
Like social anxiety and social displacement kind of thing. And so this guy that effectively is Superman, you know, like if you were like, hey, there's a meteor coming to the planet, you should push the planet out of the way, could do that by himself without any help. Just stays in his house and doesn't want to come out. And unfortunately, or fortunately, or but the Marvel Universe has like just decided to like this guy and have him be controlled by evil people all the time. So like when Norman Osborn kind of like took over the United States and Shield got destroyed, all this other shit happened. He was like, I need to create my new Avengers, so I'm going to grab Sentry. Sentry's going to be one of them. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell him that he needs to do this, or like his home and everything he holds dear is going to be. And so Sentry has a panic attack and almost destroys the, because he was just going to rip it apart because he didn't want to see what he had taken away from him. And they're like, no, you can keep it. You just have to. And he's like, oh, okay. And the first fight they fight against Morgana Le Fay, which is like this super powerful, like evil spellcaster. And he just, and she's like zapping people and turning them into things and like sending them back in time. And he just walks through all of it and just rips her head off. Like just grabs her head and rips it off her shoulders. And that's like the level of power this guy has. But he's just constantly concerned that people are going to think bad things about him, or that like the world is just going to not want him anymore. And so he's like, did I do good? Was that okay? And
Oh, he has like agoraphobia.
like along those lines, right? Like he just, he cannot be in the world, but he has the effective power to be. He is effectively the mightiest thing that's ever been. Like it's crazy, and I love that concept of, you know, it's I think we were talking about this last week about some of the characters we created for games that we're playing, where we don't take like flaws or faults or whatever, and those really help like flesh out a character where, you know, they're super good at all this, but like the strongest guy, when like a mouse walks in the room, freak out and run. That's like their one. And so that's what makes, like, I just find that really storytelling. Like if you've got this character who's great at all this stuff, but when that thing, their one foil shows up in the, you know, maybe it's somebody like touches their left eye or whatever, just like, they gotta go. They're done. But anyways, all right. Well, as per usual, we've fucking rambled for forever. Thank you guys for playing. I hope you're having fun with Sharg. We'll continue to delve into the mysteries of all of the things that you guys have found out about, as well as Reamer's ability to try to make stuff out of stuff. We'll go from there. All right?
Very cool.
All right, everybody. Good
All right.
night. Talk to you later.
Later.